Alright, so previously we have our battery harness all adapted in. It's ready to mount up to the engine, leading down to our transmission harness down there. And if we notice, the box is no longer on the top of the car. That's because it's over here. This is the part that I'm kind of I don't mind wiring, but it's tedious. So we got our Ford Performance Control Pack. This is going to allow us to run the engine separate because the engine is a different platform than the body control manual that sits behind this door panel. So this Performance Control Pack, along with the ECU that's underneath of it, is going to allow the engine to operate and it to talk to that. This is the actual engine wiring harness, so we got to get ready to prep the engine, which is behind the blue tarp over here, and get it all wired up so that those two can talk to each other, and then that main harness can talk to the harnesses in the car. It's a lot. So stay tuned if you feel like it. Get this thing installed. And this is our main connection, which goes to our ECU. Alright, so after scratching our heads, we got the engine harness on, starting down here, the oil housing and a pressure sending unit, and then wraps over top of the alternator, going to our two VVTs, hitting our coil packs, which we're going to discuss later. These are going to go to our fuel injectors, so 4 on each side here. Our timing components for our cams right here, even though the phasers are forward, sensors are in the back. They give you two options. We're going to use this one to run our knock sensors, which are under there. I don't know if you can see the wiring, but they're there. This is going to go to our backup sensor to the transmission, as well as the upshift, downshift, test and the toss for those Humvee people. Back over to the right bank, same thing. So I think these aftermarkets gotta go. I think I'm gonna go with the OEMs because, as you can tell, they're not fitting. Different type of connector, so we gotta make sure that we got the right coil pack. So we're gonna toss those, or probably put them on Facebook and get rid of them. Coming back up to the front, our main harness, which blocks into our computer ECM, as well as our SJB. On the old one, the S197s had the SJB, but this ties into the actual body control module. But now it's time to tackle this nonsense, and we got to try to figure out how to get all of this in there. And the crazy thing is only this part forward goes into the engine bay. All this has to sit behind the firewall, so we're going to be doing some tearing. We probably got to go in. I'm glad I didn't drop the engine in yet, because I'd be mad. So we're going to have to go behind here somewhere into our firewall and run that wire through, and then bring this wiring back into the car. So, yep, here we go. Alright, so I don't know if you can see up on here. Let me see if I can hit the light. Alright, so our fuse panel, which is in here, right? This is pretty much, you know, the body control module. Everything goes in here. It controls your interior lights, blah blah blah, all that other stuff. And then our firewall, right? This is the cable. I don't know if you can see a little bit of light through there. My hand's in the way, but the cable runs through the firewall, right? And then that goes and it, you know, that's what I show you. It comes around to the engine bay. And it exits underneath the battery module, but it's best to show you, like, exits right there, right? Comes along the chassis, goes up into your engine bay. And then this is where you see it's exited at, branches out into these connectors, and then of course runs into your main fuse panel. So we gotta do that same route. Trying to keep it as close to factory as we can. I don't know how we're gonna have to try to figure out how to get those wires through here. We may have to take out this water reservoir for our washer fluid. It would be nice to kind of come alongside the on the inside of that, but I don't think that cable's gonna let me do it. So yeah, we gotta figure out something though. It's gotta work. It's the only way we're gonna be able to, because we can't just, you know, I don't want to put this big fuse control panel sitting inside of the engine bay. If I did a battery relocation kit, then that would be perfect. You know, I would put the battery in the trunk, and then the main fuse panel, secondary fuse panel, could sit back there. We could mount it to the firewall, and minimal stuff would be in there. But that's kind of out of sight, out of mind. So let's get to it. There's only one way to do it. So let's just do it. I think we should also take out our glove compartment. Just give us some room so we can, you know, figure out where we're gonna mount that secondary fuse box. Okay, so so far we've got our fuse box in the general vicinity of where we want to put it. We gotta try to figure out a space. I don't know if we can put it on that back panel or set it somewhere up in here, as long as it's not interfering with my air box. But we could put it up here somewhere. We could zip tie it or something. And then we've got to find a common ground. I'm thinking I'm gonna put that right here. This looks like a good ground. Or maybe if I can tie it along the back firewall. And then we've got this running underneath of our center console. And over here we have our new OBD2 port, so we can talk to the engine, do our flashes and custom tunes. And then we have another ground. So we have like 3 grounds. You want to make sure that. So this one I'm gonna probably put behind that hood terminal right there. And then this is should be our clutch pedal. Yep. It's our clutch pedal. This goes to our clutch. Talks to the new computer, since the SJB over here does not read the Coyote. So, and then we've got this should be our accelerator. This is our accelerator pedal sensor. So, this is an automatic car for now. So you just basically see your gas pedal and your brake. However, if you look up here, if you see that little perforated cutout, that's where our actual clutch actuator is going to go. So we're going to take all of this out and modify it. We're gonna turn it into a manual car. Yeah, because since I know half the people out there can't drive it, it'd be harder to steal. No, just kidding. I just want I haven't driven a manual since I was overseas. So anyway, let's keep cracking. All right, so what we had to do is we just had to push this grommet out, the one that was going in the right fender well. We had to cut it so that I can run this line through, and the inside I'm gonna open it up a little bit more, and so we can get our connectors through. I wanted to go through here, but that bus connector for the ECU is just too big, and this piece is welded. I'm not gonna mess with the structural integrity of the frame, so I think we're just gonna run along. I'm still debating whether or not I want to take the easy route and come up to the top, or go along with the body harness itself, and just drop this windshield washer reservoir. It's looking like I'm gonna drop that reservoir. Alright. Yeah. So we had to pretty much remove that whole grommet. We're gonna go ahead and reinstall it though. Cut a slit and get these cables through so that we can finish this install on the wire harness. Okay, so we have our connections ran over here. Again, the new OBD2 port. I gotta clean that up, man. Our clutch pedal, accelerator pedal, our breakouts for our fuel cutoff, our 12-volt constant, initial startup, our ground, CAN bus, which we're not going to use because I'm going to show you that later in another video, how we're going to give electricity and signal to the E-Pass rack. That goes up underneath the center console. Comes out here on this side. We've got this ground. I'm going to terminate that here. And this runs to our additional fuse panel. We are going to cut a little perforation here, and we're going to mount that up there so that it just sits like so and out the way. Cool, one and done. We'll keep our grommet. I don't know why PowerBot I thought that this was gonna, well, actually Full Performance thought that that thing right there was gonna help you out by being attached. It doesn't even go over the line. So anyway, we fished our original OEM. Let me see if I can get that to focus. We fished our original OEM grommet back through, so we shouldn't have any issues. I'm going to seal that up with some weather strip. We do have to push that one back up in there. I don't know why I even bothered to take that out. I think it was a wire running up there that the original owner had. Coming out, you can see right here where it leaves. And then we've got a harness running alongside our original body harness going up to, I did decide to drop the windshield washer fluid, and I brought it up here on the back side of the harness, not to put any stress on it. And then this is our lead for our ECM, and then this is going to go into the engine inlet. This connects to this portion here, and then this one's going to go into the bottom of our ECM. And then this piece, which is a part of the original, this goes back to our harness. We're gonna have to get a connector that runs here, and if you underneath of the the main fuse panel, there's a block, there's a little breakout box that's gonna connect from here and plug in under here. So now once this charges, once we get power from the battery, it'll talk to the SJB, and we'll be able to have lights on the inside and, you know, turn signals and all that other high-speed stuff. And then we'll get a jumper that runs from this side. It's a cap, actually. It'll plug off because we won't be using the other side of the engine. They just plug straight in. Then we have this long cable here. This is a dish extra long. I don't even know why they made it this long, but these cables over here, some of these things are redundant because we already have them on our battery harness. So, but this goes to our mass airflow sensor, the MAF. So it'll be connected to our inlet box, which is in that box there for our airflow. This one goes to our alternator. This is redundant. because we already have the same connector here on our battery harness along with the power supply. So, and then this one goes to our IC pump. So what that is it's for your supercharger pump if you're going to do like a Roush or Saline or a stock, you know, GT500 supercharger. We're not going to do that, so we're just going to find out ways to tie these off. Going back here real quick, these are our CAN buses. This leads as if we're going to actually use the power steering rack, the E-Pass, which is electronic, you know, power assisted steering. We will use it, but I'm not going to use, I don't think I'm going to have to use the CAN bus. I have a different kind of way, because if you look, this connection right here is already in E-Pass. It's just running up. So I won't be using that, but I will be tying these into somewhere else. Stay tuned and I'll show you later. Next thing is to get that behemoth inside of this engine, but due to the weather, I don't think I want to tackle it today. Might be a tomorrow project, but we're going to leave that uncovered for motivation, because the more I cover it, the more I kind of don't look at it. So let's get this thing rolling and stay tuned.